Here's the story of the most miraculous top deck in the history of Magic the Gathering. Before we do, a reminder that you can snag all the cards you need from our sponsor Card Kingdom over at cardkingdom.com/MTGGoldfish. In 2012, Wizards of the Coast decided they would hold a new type of Magic tournament, the World Magic Cup, which they modeled after the Soccer World Cup. The idea was that countries around the world would hold qualifiers to determine the members of their 4-player teams, and those teams would pay limited and team constructed, featuring standard, modern, and block through multiple group stages to make a top 8 and eventually the top 4 and eventually determine the winner of the event. Team USA was considered to be among the favorites at the event. While the team did contain 2 relatively unknown players in Alex Bennick and Joe Pacino, it was led by 2 players thought to be among the best in the world at the time. The first was Luis Scott Vargas, perhaps the most well-known Magic player in the entire world. At this point, LSV had already managed to top 4 Pro Tours, which combined with his popular content and Super Troopers era sense of style,
the snozberries taste like snozberries,
had him on the short list for possible induction into the Magic the Gathering Hall of Fame. The second was the handsomest man in Magic and Dragon Master Brian Kibler, who was already in the Hall of Fame thanks to his 5 Pro Tour top 8s, cementing his place as one of the best players in the history of the game. After cruising through day 1 of the event, the United States found themselves in 3rd place and in a group with Uruguay, Hungary, and Taiwan, with the top 2 teams advancing on to the next stage. In a massive upset, the United States lost to Hungary in round 1 of group play, setting them up for a must-win battle with the Taiwanese team in the following round. Even heading into the event, there was some controversy surrounding the Taiwanese team, with Wizards calling the team Chinese Taipei rather than Taiwan, a name that is controversial among the Taiwanese, although in Wizards' defense, it is a name used by many international organizations in an effort to dodge the geopolitical complexities of the area. Geopolitics aside, there was no doubt that the team was a huge underdog in the event. They were led by a legitimate Magic pro in Sun Shin Ko, although Ko was mostly known for performing well at local GPs in Taiwan, while the rest of the team of Terry Chang, Yuming Yang, and Paul Rene were more or less unknown local players. In many ways, it was the ultimate David vs. Goliath story. Team USA with 2 of the best known and strongest players in the world against the Taiwanese group of mostly unknown local players. For Team Taiwan to beat the mighty Team USA, it was gonna take a miracle. The way the team rounds of the World Magic Cup worked was 3 players from each team play against each other, with the 4th player who's not playing serving as a coach, and to win the round, your team needs to win 2 of the 3 matches. In the matchup between Team Taiwan and Team USA, the 2 teams split the first 2 matches, one going to Team USA and the other going to Team Taiwan, which meant the 3rd and final matchup block constructed between Terry Chang and Brian Kibler would determine the winner of the entire round. With all the other matches finished, players from both teams gathered around the block constructed match, along with Magic luminaries like Wizards VP Aaron Forsyth, to watch the 2 Jund midrange decks battle for the decisive 3rd game. After a long grind of both players trading away creatures and removal, Kibler was finally able to stick a threat in Olivia Voldaren and use its ability to grow the flyer into a lethal finisher. As everyone expected, the Hall of Famers on Team USA would just be a bit too much for Team Taiwan to handle. Chang was out of cards and there was really nothing left he could do except draw his card for the turn and then presumably extend his hand to Kibler for the traditional defeat-admitting handshake. But then, the miracle happened. With all eyes on Chang, he reached for his deck, he cradles the top card of his library in his fingers, and in one motion, flips it onto the table. It's Bonfire of the Damned, a literal miracle. Since Bonfire was Chang's draw for the turn, he can play the sorcery for his miracle cost. He reaches down to tap all of his lands before putting his palms up in the air in a fashion that's either saying "ta-da" like a magician or "what can you do?" Kibler's the first to realize what just happened. The miraculous Bonfire of the Damned would burn away his remaining life points, winning the match for the Taiwanese underdogs and sending Team USA home from the tournament early without even reaching the top 8. His eyes go wide in disbelief. As Team Taiwan smiles and claps and pumps their fists in celebration, Kibler turns his head to look at the mustachioed LSV sitting next to him. LSV looks back with a face that clearly says, "Seriously?" Kibler flashes a somewhat somewhat frustrated smile. At the end of the table, Joe Pacino's head falls into his arms, perhaps in part due to shock at what just happened, and perhaps in part to frustration that his strong performance and the strong performance of his unknown teammate Alec Bennick would be wasted. During the first day of the event, the two unknown players each posted 6-1 records, while the Hall of Famers LSV and Kibler combined for 6 wins and 8 losses. Kibler throws his hands up in the air before bringing his fist down on the table, but he quickly composed himself and reached out to shake his opponent's hand, admitting defeat for Team USA. As the rest of Team USA and Team Taiwan shake hands, Kibler once again frustratedly looks at LSV, who leans over on his teammate encouragingly. In the aftermath of the most miraculous top deck in the history of Magic, the unheralded Taiwanese team would go on to win the entire event. LSV would be inducted into the Magic Hall of Fame the following year, which was followed by 5 more Pro Tour top 8s, giving him a massive 9 total, although sadly he would also give up the epic Super Troopers mustache. For Kibler, meanwhile, the World Magic Cup was almost a bit of a last hurrah, as he would soon give up Magic for the newly released Hearthstone, where he would go on to become one of the new game's most popular streamers and casters, before eventually returning to Magic nearly a decade later to play Commander. The World Magic Cup itself would last until 2018, when Wizards pulled the plug on the tournament in favor of digital play on Magic Arena, making it unlikely that we'll ever see another top deck as Miraculous. Sure, Magic players will still draw the perfect card at the perfect time, and they'll always share their bad beat stories. That's just a part of the game. But what made the moment so memorable was the team format of the event. It's Kibler throwing a sideways glance at his teammate LSV, Joe collapsing into his own arms, the shocked look of spectators, the Taiwanese underdogs celebrating their victory together, the emotion, the camaraderie, the gathering of Magic, which simply can't be replicated by 2 players throwing digital cardboard at each other across a computer screen. And that's the story of the most miraculous top deck in the history of Magic the Gathering. If you want even more Magic, make sure to check out the video about the 10 plays that actually forced Wizards to change the rules of the game, or maybe the one about the biggest cheaters who have ever played the game of Magic the Gathering.